Thank you, Justine. Very happy to be here. And I know that we have a diverse group here. So, both patients in active treatment and, post-treatment, caregivers, family members. So my hope today is that everyone here will get some piece of information that will be helpful to them. So first off, I'll start with some of my agenda items. So I'm going to run through some nutrition goals for patients, specifically talk about nutrition tips during treatment. So not all of the ones that affect eating, but the most common that we see that would be impacting what people are able to eat. Run through some cancer survivorship tips and some vitamin and mineral considerations, and then how a dietitian can help. So why is nutrition important? So research shows that eating a well-balanced diet, both during and after treatment, can help patients to overall feel better, maintain their strength. So especially if we can maintain weight, maintain that muscle mass, it can give patients the strength to withstand their treatment and also recover, and then reduce risk for any recurrences. So our basic nutrition goals really are to maintain a healthy weight as much as possible, get a variety of nutrients from food first, so lots of plant foods, colorful fruits and vegetables, whole grains, healthy fats, and a variety of protein sources, at every meal and snack. Maintain a good hydration status, and physical activity and exercise as tolerated. So first I'll run through some nutrition tips for during treatment. So as I said, I'll run through the 4 that we see most often that would impact your ability to eat. So starting off with poor appetite. So poor appetite can, start from a number of different reasons. Different treatments can affect your appetite, but, generally all of our recommendations are pretty much the same. So, think about eating 6 small meals or 6, snacks all throughout the day. So, having a large portion, large meal in front of you is going to make you feel really overwhelmed and just be immediately turned off from eating. So it's a little bit more manageable if you have smaller things, several times a day. If you're a person that typically forgets to eat, or you're too busy, or you're too fatigued, I usually recommend setting an alarm on your phone every 2 to 3 hours as just that reminder to just have something. It doesn't have to be anything big. So it could be just a small handful of nuts, or a couple crackers with a few pieces of cheese, or, a couple bites of yogurt with granola. It doesn't have to be a big amount, every little bit really counts. And then have those snacks readily available. So, put small jars of nuts, around your home as that visual reminder to take a handful, or have a couple yogurts in your refrigerator so that they're there when you need it. And then always include that protein source when you are eating a snack. So it could be hard-boiled eggs, cheese, yogurt, the nuts, nut butters, anything like that. And fortify every time that you do eat. So when we are eating those small meals, we want to maximize the nutrients as much as possible in those meals. So, drizzle a little extra olive oil into what you're cooking, or add some avocado slices onto half of a sandwich. Use, any kind of milk or protein drinks as the base of making a smoothie, or, throw protein powder into a soup. Fortify as much as possible. And then optimize eating when you are feeling your best. So if morning is the time of day that you eat the best, then, maximize what you can at that meal, and then, use other methods throughout the day, whether it's those snacks or liquid-based, nutrition drinks can be really helpful too, especially if you don't have the time to be making anything, or, liquids tend to be a little easier to consume when you don't feel like eating. So, making a smoothie as a meal replacement with yogurt and nut butters and fruits, or using those readily available drinks, which I do have some different options listed there, but use them when needed. And you can do that several times a day if needed. If you feel full easily, limit your water, while you're eating, because the water will certainly fill up your stomach and make you feel full and not be able to eat or, consume your snack at that time. And then, after you're done eating, wait and have your hydration at that point. So next up would be nausea. So going on that theme of having small things several times a day, when you're feeling nauseous, obviously being presented with a large meal in front of you is going to make you feel a little bit overwhelmed and not want to eat. So we want to keep everything small, and maximize, low fat, low fiber, because those are going to be the foods that are going to be easier to digest. If you have something that's, too fatty, fried, greasy, those things sit in your stomach a lot longer. So if you already have baseline nausea, that's going to make you feel a lot worse. So think like crackers, yogurt, bananas, pretzels, all those things are easy to digest. Staying hydrated is also very important. So not only does dehydration cause nausea symptoms, but obviously if you have the baseline nausea, that's going to make that worse as well. So drink a lot of fluids. Ginger can be particularly helpful in, mitigating nausea symptoms. So sip on ginger tea or ginger ale that has real ginger in it, not the, ginger flavor. You want real ginger. And then going on some of the other fluids, lemon also is really helpful in helping with nausea symptoms. So use lemonade for some of your fluids, or put fresh lemon slices into your water. Even using lemon as aromatherapy can be helpful. So taking a fresh lemon and squeezing your nails into the skins and letting those, kind of juices, come out a little bit, and just smelling that can help to mitigate that nausea feeling. And then use supportive resources as well. So meditation can be really helpful, especially if meal times are really stressful. It can help you to relax. And then acupuncture or acupressure has some good data to show that can help with nausea. So if you have those types of resources available, they can also be really helpful. Next up is diarrhea. So, this we do see a lot of, especially in patients that are on immunotherapies that might develop any type of colitis. So the foods that typically might trigger diarrhea symptoms that we would want to limit as much as possible would be a lot of foods that have something called insoluble fiber. So insoluble fiber is the roughage that's in plant foods. So think of the skins that are on fruits or raw vegetables, beans, nuts and seeds, dried fruit, the bran that's on whole grains. All that stuff does not get really digested in the GI tract and just passes through intact and increases the transit time through your guts and would make things like that worse. So we want to limit those as much as possible. Sometimes lactose can be a trigger as well. So limiting high lactose containing dairy products like milk or ice cream can be helpful. So there's lots of different milk alternatives out there now. So lactose-free cottage cheese or milk or ice cream. Or sometimes lower lactose foods might be okay. So yogurt or, hard cheeses might not have a lot of lactose in them. So they may be okay. Fruit juices, fried foods, spicy foods, all those also would make diarrhea symptoms worse that we would want to limit. And then foods to choose more often tend to be foods that either don't have a lot of fiber in them, or they have a different type of fiber called soluble fiber. So soluble fiber is the type of fiber when it's combined with water forms a gel, and that's what happens in our gut to help bind things up. So I'm sure you've all heard of the brat diet. So bananas, rice, applesauce, toast. So this at least will be in the similar types of foods, but at least be a little bit more expensive than 4 things. So peaches, canned peaches that are in their own juice are in that category. Melons, peas, potatoes without the skins. Oats are really helpful for soluble fiber, so having oatmeal or oat-based bread could be a good option. Nut butters are usually well tolerated because when they're ground up, those fibers are broken down a little bit. So usually those are fine for a protein, tofu, fish, plain yogurt, white rice, and pasta. And it's also important to remember to stay hydrated if you have diarrhea, since we can lose a lot of fluids and electrolytes when you have looser stools. So sports drinks, coconut water with a pinch of salt, those are good, replacement options. And then constipation. So we do see this a lot, especially if there are supportive medications that would, bind you up. So strategies to manage that would be to increase total fiber intake. So both the insoluble and the soluble. So lots of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts and seeds, beans, legumes. But with that, we need to increase fluids too, because if you increase your fiber intake without the fluids, those fibers will stick like cement in your gut and just stay there. So we need extra fluids to help move things along the GI tract. So it could be water, it could be warm liquids too. They can help to move things along too. So herbal teas, warm water with lemon. There's also some other teas that have a natural laxative in them, the senna teas. So there's one called Smooth Move that can be helpful. And then there are some fruits that have a sugar called sorbitol that can be helpful as a natural laxative as well. So prunes, pears, apricots. And then using your bowel medications as prescribed if they are needed as well. So now moving on to some tips for cancer survivorship. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard this, but really we want to emphasize eating lots and lots of whole plant foods. So we recommend doing 5 to 10 colorful fruits and vegetables a day. So I emphasize the color because each color in plant foods represents its own unique set of something called phytonutrients. So these chemicals that are in plant foods that have been shown to help the immune system. And we know that eating a variety of those colors together, they work synergistically to help the immune system fight cancer. So we want to get some reds, some blues, dark leafy greens, some oranges. So we do see that in research in terms of reducing the risk of melanoma, that the particular phytonutrient called retinol, which is a form of vitamin A, can be helpful. So lots of the orange produce, so sweet potatoes, carrots, mango, pumpkin, and then the dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, all those would have some of those nutrients, and then they are in some fish, eggs, and milk as well. Whole grains also have phytonutrients, so getting a variety of whole grains is beneficial. So if you're just used to having something like whole wheat as a whole grain, get some variety in the grains too. So add some oats, add some barley, farro, quinoa, change things up. And then eating a variety of nuts, seeds, beans, legumes, all these are plant foods, so good plant proteins. And then choosing healthy fats whenever possible. So we want to emphasize the unsaturated fats, so mostly the plant oils, so using olive oil, avocado oil or avocados, nuts, sunflower seeds, Omega-3 fats are in particular really important. So omega-3 fats are helpful for decreasing inflammation in the body. So not only in terms of preventing cancer recurrence, but preventing any other chronic disease. We want to decrease inflammation. So the best sources are fatty fish, so salmon, mackerel, halibut, tuna, bluefish, sardines, anchovies. If you are a fish eater, we recommend trying to get those in at least 2 to 3 times a week. If you're not a fish eater, you can get them from plant sources as well. So walnuts, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, and chia seeds. And then for proteins, like I said, we want to make sure we get some protein every time we eat. So fish, poultry, eggs, yogurt, nuts, seeds, beans, and legumes are some of the best sources for protein. We do want to limit red meat. So for the recommendations from the American Institute for Cancer Research, that would be less than 18 ounces of red meat a week. And certainly limiting the processed meats as much as possible. So anything that's going to be smoked, cured, salted to preserve it. So it'd be a lot of hot dogs, bacon, deli meats, things like that, the least amount possible. And then I just wanted to mention the healthy eating plate. So there's a link on the bottom if you want to look at that. But the healthy eating plate is made by the Harvard School of Public Health, and it's basically what we want our ideal plate to look like. So half of it really should be vegetables and fruits, a quarter should be whole grains, a quarter healthy protein. We want to get those healthy plant oils in as well, and then using water for hydration. And then I wanted to mention a little bit about vitamins and minerals. So we want to emphasize food first. So, research shows that getting certain nutrients from supplements doesn't always translate to the benefits that we see in getting these nutrients from foods. And then certain supplements, if they are in high doses, can be dangerous or interact with different treatments. So we always want to check with your oncology team to, make sure that if you are interested in supplementing with anything, that it's not going to interact with treatment. And then with that said, however, vitamin D is a special consideration. So this is the sunshine vitamin. So it's absorbed through the skin from the sun. Obviously wearing sunscreen is recommended. So you don't absorb it through sunscreen. And then of course, if you have limited sun exposure, you're not going to get it from the sun. There are some food sources of vitamin D, but not in the amounts that the body needs. So low blood levels of vitamin D have been associated with increased risk for developing melanoma and worse survivorship outcomes. So it is really important to keep your blood levels normal. So if you don't know what your vitamin D status is, I would say definitely go get it checked. Have your oncology team check it, your PCP can check it as well, and see where you're at so that you know what you need to be supplementing. There's varying recommendations for how much to take, either as a maintenance dose, or if you are deficient, then you would need a repletion dose. So before, just blanket supplementing, it's best to just check it and see where you're at. And then how can a dietitian help? So registered dietitians are trained in medical nutrition therapy. So we are here to give you an individualized plan based on your personal needs. So whether or not you're in treatment, post-treatment, if you have any current side effects, lingering side effects from treatment, we take into consideration any of your food likes, dislikes, your lifestyle, if you have food allergies, weight goals, and then other chronic health conditions as well. And we can encompass all of those factors into a personalized plan for you. So ask your doctor for a referral for a registered dietitian, or we are board certified specialists in oncology nutrition as well. So if you have access to one of those, they would be helpful, but any registered dietitian in general should be able to help you, personalize a plan. And then just some other helpful resources that my patients find helpful. So if you have any questions about herbs, Sloan Kettering has a great website and app to look those up to see if there's any interactions with treatments. American Institute for Cancer Research has a great website with nutrition and diet information. We here at MGH also have a nutrition website that has some recipes and tips for treatment. If you like cookbooks, we love the Cancer Fighting Kitchen cookbook by Rebecca Katz. It has some great recipes in there as well, and recipes geared towards symptom management, and then the Foods That Fight Cancer book. And with that, just want to say thank you, and it was a pleasure to be here. So, thanks.